Think Thor only has Mjolnir and Stormbreaker? You're wrong, folks. Today in this video, we're listing all of Thor's hammers and classifying each one by power level: Omega, Alpha, and Beta. Here's what the classification means. Omega is peak power. Beta is more limited. Alpha sits in the middle. Mjolnir. Forged from Uru metal by dwarf craftsmen. That Uru metal was smelted in the heart of a dying star, which honestly sounds incredible, but that's not all. According to comic book lore, a cosmic entity called the God Tempest is trapped inside this hammer. Not willingly, of course. Odin fought this cosmic being and sealed it inside. I wish the MCU had given us that story. When the MCU first showed us Mjolnir, Odin was placing an enchantment on it, saying, "Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of Thor." This is something only the truly worthy can lift. The hammer's MCU powers go like this. It can summon storms, throw lightning, grant its wielder flight, return to its owner no matter where it is, give Thor's powers to a worthy holder, and restore power to someone who has lost it. In Jane's version, it reassembled itself from broken pieces. If you think that's impressive enough, you're wrong, folks. In the comics, Mjolnir is far more powerful. It can generate planet-scale hurricanes, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. The God Blast lets Thor unleash all his divine power in a single energy strike. It was seen pushing back Galactus on a scale that rivals the full force of an entire planet. And brace yourselves, because it can also open dimensional travel portals. I can practically hear you asking why the MCU never gave us that. And it gets even better. Time travel. Yes, actual time travel, though Immortus later removed that ability. In the MCU, we saw Mjolnir shattered once, but in the comics, it was destroyed multiple times. The most dramatic moment was Jane Foster hurling Mangog into the sun, destroying Mjolnir along with it. Thor later reforged it, this time with the God Tempest willingly residing inside. Mjolnir's classification is definitely Omega. In the future, a Spider-Man could lift Mjolnir. Which one do you think is worthy? Write it in the comments. Stormbreaker, the upgrade. This one was also designed by the legendary Nidavellir dwarves and forged from Uru metal. No cosmic entity inside this time, but its handle was made from Groot's own arm. In the MCU, Thor lost Mjolnir when Hela destroyed it, so he traveled to Nidavellir for a new weapon. That scene was incredible. Thor exposes his own body to the star's energy to keep it open, literally on the verge of being obliterated. At that moment, Groot reaches out and becomes the handle. Then Thor arrives in Wakanda. Stormbreaker's MCU powers are extraordinary. It amplifies Thor's abilities, not just channeling them, but actually boosting them. And you know what the best part is? It was able to withstand the combined energy of all 6 Infinity Stones, like an actual shield. Unlike Mjolnir, it grants flight without needing to spin it. It can mentally overwhelm anyone unworthy who tries to wield it. Like Mjolnir, it transforms the wielder's outfit. Thor's armor changes when he grabs it. Here's a fun fact. Joe Russo stated that Mjolnir couldn't have withstood the blow from the 6 stones. Stormbreaker could. But of course, the MCU didn't do Stormbreaker enough justice because the comic version is legendary. In the comics, this hammer actually belongs to Beta Ray Bill. The story goes like this. Bill fought Thor and the battle ended in a draw. And incredibly, Bill lifted Mjolnir. You know what that means. Bill was the first person besides Thor ever deemed worthy. Odin naturally rewarded this and had a special hammer forged just for Bill. That hammer was Stormbreaker. Looks pretty different from the MCU version, doesn't it? And the powers are incredible too. They're largely the same as Mjolnir's: storm control, flight for its wielder, and best of all, dimensional travel. Listen closely because here comes the best part. The comic version of Stormbreaker has a survival enchantment for space, and it even allows Bill to shift into human form. Be honest, if Beta Ray Bill came to the MCU and faced Thor, who do you think would win? Stormbreaker's classification is Omega. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like the video. Let's keep going. Jarnbjorn, the Iron Bear. A true throwback weapon. Thor used this before he was worthy of Mjolnir. Personally, I think Jarnbjorn looks cooler aesthetically. What do you think? This one was also forged by the Nidavellir dwarves from Asgardian steel. Jarnbjorn means Iron Bear in Old Norse. By the way, not every name Marvel uses is made up. Each one comes from real history or mythology. If you'd like me to make a video about the meaning behind every name in Marvel, I'd love to do that. Moving on, Jarnbjorn never officially appeared in the MCU. too, but its comic version is so legendary you're going to be seriously upset about that. This axe is sharper than anything else in the world. Nothing can compete with it. It also carries an Asgardian enchantment, making it indestructible and unbreakable. Imagine if Hela had ever seen this axe. And it gets even better. Jarnbjorn can resist even Apocalypse's optic energy blasts. But I still haven't mentioned the best part. Jarnbjorn carries something mystical. Thor consecrated it with his own blood, giving it the ability to pierce celestial armor. The Celestials are among the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. Remember that giant head turned into a city in Guardians of the Galaxy? Yeah, that. The history of this weapon is a bit winding. Thor loses it. Kang the Conqueror finds it. Someone steals it from Kang. And in the chaos of trying to reclaim it, Thor loses his arm, which is then replaced with a prosthetic made of Uru metal. Quite an adventure. The main drawback though, unlike Mjolnir, Jarnbjorn doesn't control storms. When Thor uses the axe, he has to channel lightning directly from his own body, which is far more taxing. That's why this one is classified as Alpha. Thunderstrike, the underdog. I think you already know the metal. Uru, of course. And who forged it? Brock and Eitri, naturally. And who enchanted it? Odin. This one is a war mace, not a hammer, and the inscription on it is legendary. The world still needs heroes. I would have given anything to see that in the MCU. Unfortunately, it hasn't appeared yet. Emphasis on yet. In the comics, there's a character named Eric Masterson, an architect, an ordinary man. He was injured trying to save Thor, and Odin, yes, genuinely, merged Masterson into Thor's body. Two people, one body. When Thor eventually returned, Odin had a separate weapon made for Masterson, Thunderstrike. Look at what the comics version of Odin was capable of. Meanwhile, MCU Odin's greatest achievements seem to be taking Odin sleeps and getting dumped in a retirement home by Loki. Don't you think Odin was way too passive in the MCU? Write your thoughts, I'm genuinely curious. Now folks, you won't believe Thunderstrike's powers. Like other comic weapons, it has a space survival enchantment, and the wildest thing, it can open dimensional portals, but it has to be spun in a specific rhythm to do so. And incredibly, this weapon is passed down through generations. After Eric eventually died, his son Kevin Masterson inherited it. Its classification is Beta, clearly less powerful than Mjolnir. Mjolnir, Jane Foster version, the Mighty Thor. The story is one of the few that's nearly identical in both the MCU and the comics. Jane Foster was gravely ill, and the shattered Mjolnir on display in New Asgard's museum suddenly flew toward her and reassembled itself. Why Jane? Short answer, Thor had once asked the hammer to protect her, and the hammer kept that promise. When Jane wielded Mjolnir, she gained a healthy body and took on Thor's appearance, but every time she returned to her normal form after using it, her illness worsened. The MCU showed all of the hammer's original abilities intact in this broken and rebuilt version. In the comics, the story is remarkably similar. Nick Fury, empowered by a cosmic force, whispered 3 words to Thor. Gore was right. Those 3 words instantly made Thor unworthy. The hammer fell, and Jane picked it up. The parallel continues. In the comics, Jane was undergoing chemotherapy at the time. Every time she used Mjolnir, the hammer purged all the chemicals from her body, treating them as toxins. And just like in the MCU, her illness kept advancing. Thor and Odin eventually brought her back. This one is firmly Alpha class. It carries Mjolnir's full power, but Jane's biological limitations were a serious constraint. Thor core stories. Multiple Thors from multiple universes team up side by side, each with their own Mjolnir variant. That's literally peak Marvel chaos energy. I'll be examining each alternate universe Thor hammer individually in part 2. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and don't forget to like the video.